Hi, Miss Hannah. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi. So I'm a lecturer in psychology with a master's degree in psychotherapy and counseling and a bachelor's degree in psychology. I've been teaching psychology at various institutions around Sri Lanka for the past 13 years. And I've been working with various programs ranging from diplomas to even master's degrees in psychology, education, counseling, early childhood, and a few others. I'm also the founder of Easy Education, where we offer customized workshops and training programs for schools, colleges, and universities, and the corporate sector as well.
Could you suggest some study tips for students starting college?
If you're a student starting college, there are a few things that you need to get used to right from the beginning. So, the first thing you need to do is to get to know your program. You need to get to know the program in terms of its modules and the requirements for each of the modules, and the level of time commitment needed for each of them as well. The second thing you would do is make a study schedule for daily study based on this requirement and follow it. So, when you make your study schedule, you can always utilize the time that you might have before certain classes start on a day to day basis, in between classes, or even after classes. So, wherever you have time, you might want to accommodate at least 1 or 2 hours of study because daily revising is a must while you're in college. You will have assignment submissions, you will have pop-up quizzes and class tests and things like that that would require a day-to-day revision. So when you have a habit and when you make it a habit to study every day and follow a particular plan or a schedule, that makes life much easier. Number three, pick a place that is comfortable and distraction free for studying. So this place could be a library, some place at your house where it would be distraction free. And also make sure that you put away your devices, especially your cell phones. Even if you are on the laptop, which might be required for the class or for the study, make sure that you turn off notifications from any of your social media websites or emails and things like that, as that would also distract you during your study time. So, a place that's distraction free would also be a place that has no interactions or no disturbances from children, other family members, pets, or anything else. Number four would be discovering your learning style. Different people learn differently. Some are auditory learners, some are visual learners, and some are kinesthetic learners. So you should identify which one you are. An auditory learner is a learner that learns best when they can hear something. So it could be listening to a class lecture that's recorded. It could be listening to a student or a friend teach you something again. It could be just listening in class itself, or it could be a video recording that you're listening to. A visual learner is someone who learns better when there is audio-visual input. So basically, someone who learns with a video recording that they can see where something is demonstrated, where something is shown as to how it could be done, or it's illustrated in pictures, diagrams, or any other form where you could see something. And the third one is the kinesthetic learner. A kinesthetic learner is a learner who basically learns well when they have hands on experience. So, any subject that would have lab applications or lab demonstrations, like a physics lab, science lab, or a chemistry lab activity, or it would have other activities where you could try out something, right? Could be with electronics, or it could be even like softwares and things like that, where you would try creating it or try making it. So you have hands on experience with how it actually works. And this would help you remember or learn better. So, discovering your learning style is the key when it comes to figuring out how well you could learn a particular subject. And again, it might vary from subject to subject. So, you might be able to use different types of learning styles for different subjects as well. Number five would be to revise notes regularly and to always read before classes. You should revise your notes on a day-to-day basis. Whatever you cover that day, you should read through it and revise it at the end of the day after lessons. And you should also read before a class. So that way you're more prepared and you know what to expect in that class. And it would be more comfortable and more familiar than being there without any preparation or not even knowing what the content is going to be about. So the daily revision will help you connect the dots and make that day's lesson far more easier to remember and understand, because you've learned and you remember what you learned in the previous classes. And today's class would be easier because you read about today's topic already. So you're far more prepared, right? You're far more comfortable to listen to what the class or what the lecture would be about. And the other thing is you have to ask for help whenever it is needed. So please don't wait until the last minute to ask for help. If there is a question or there is a problem, make sure that you seek help right at the beginning. Make sure you address that concern right at the beginning. And if you need help or clarifications on something, you could always approach your teacher or your lecturer, or you could also approach your friends who might be able to help you out with it. And last but not least, take breaks. You should take breaks at least every hour. So every hour you need to stop doing whatever you're doing for your learning purposes and go take a break. And when you take a break, you should do something that is different to what you were doing all that time. So for example, if you were busy studying at a desk, working maybe on the computer or working on a book, you have to do something different. So get up from that space, walk out of that room or that place that you were at, and get a change of scenery, right? So you could go out, step outside, talk to somebody, or you could go sit outside in the garden, or you could lay on the couch and rest your eyes for about 10 minutes. You could do whatever you want to relax yourself.
Some students feel anxious as they start college. How can they overcome this anxiety as they step into a new chapter of their lives?
So anxiety is caused by the unknown. So one of the easiest ways to overcome anxiety, especially when you step into a new chapter or when you start doing something new, is to become aware. So college students usually face a lot of anxiety because you have so many things ahead of you. Everything is different. Everything is brand new at this point. You are also unaware of what your college expects, what your teachers would expect, what your friends would be like, right? And how you would form relationships and build networks. There's so many things that you would have questions about. And these questions altogether can create a sense of fear, a sense of a tension that basically makes you feel anxious overall. So since anxiety is caused by the unknown, the best solution to it is to become aware. So the best way to become aware, especially in a new place, is to attend orientation programs. Universities and colleges usually arrange an orientation program right at the beginning of the new semester, of the first semester. So all the new students who have signed up for new programs that semester will be expected to take part in this program, which will walk you through the steps of how the policies, the procedures, and where the places are, and things like that will be introduced. So the people hosting the program will usually be the college staff. So you will also have a chance to meet most of the important people that you will have to work with closely in the future. You will also learn a lot of things about how colleges work. What do you do to sign up for a class? What do you do if you missed an exam? What do you do if you are unable to make it to college for, say, a short period of time because you're unwell or you have some sudden plans? So, common questions like this usually get addressed at the orientation programs. And of course, every orientation program will also have a way to kind of walk you through the major concerns that students would have. And they will naturally bring those questions up, they will bring those sections up, and they will talk to you about it. But you will also have an opportunity to talk to them and to ask questions and to clarify any questions or any doubts that you might have. So, attending orientation programs usually also helps connect with new students and other lecturers or other staff of the college. So, connecting with new students will also help you start friendships and start bonds, relationships, where you will get to know your fellow classmates. So, this will be a good opportunity to break the ice and to start connecting, start talking about the program, start forming networks by sharing phone numbers, email addresses, and things like that. So, you have some sort of a opportunity to start bonding. The other important thing is to read through the policies and the procedures on the handbook. Every university will offer you a handbook or a guide that would basically state all the procedures also. So everything that you would get to know about at the orientation program will also be stated in writing. So if you need to double check with anything, you can always go back to that book and read through it. The next thing is to read through the student information plans, or the SIPs as they call it, or the syllabus that your class instructor would give you. This will have details about the textbook requirements, the reading requirements, the lesson plans for the whole semester, important deadlines for class quizzes, midterms, assignments, finals, and things like that. So this will help you kind of plan your semester ahead and prepare your schedule accordingly. And the other important thing is that you will start with fewer modules per semester and increase your number of modules gradually. So during your first semester, try not to cramp yourself up with 5 to 6 different modules, as that might make it difficult to adjust deadlines, to work with assignments, and to kind of become familiar with how the whole college system works. So it's always recommended that you start with the minimum number of modules required and you work your way up towards increasing those number of modules that you take each semester.
Staying motivated is a big problem for many students. So how do you think students can keep themselves motivated while in college?
Motivation. So basically, motivation is the desire to do something. And when you're a student, there is a need to do a lot of things, yet there might be very little desire to get it done. And one of the most important or the biggest struggles most students have is keeping themselves motivated throughout the semester. As sometimes you feel motivated on one day and you feel very demotivated on the other day. So keeping it consistent throughout the semester so that you can keep up the grades, you can keep up the performance, and you can stay well focused in class could be a bit of a challenge. So the first thing you need to do is to realize that multitasking is a big no unless you are a pro at it. You should always tackle one task at a time and avoid multitasking. Many students or many people believe that multitasking is effective because you can get a lot of things done at the same time and it helps you achieve multiple tasks within the same time period and things like that. It is true, but if you are not skilled at it, it could be a challenge and it also could be a huge demotivator. Because the outcome at the end of that 1 hour is going to be pretty much zero. Right? You would have expected to finish 3 things, but at the end of it, you try doing all 3 at the same time, but the end result is 0. So at the end of the session, you basically feel like, okay, I have not been able to get anything done at all in this 1 hour, so it's just pointless even trying. Whereas if you tackle one task at a time, chances are that at the end of that 1 hour, you're going to complete that one task that you have in hand nice and clean. The second thing to do is to prepare a timetable or a study schedule with different lessons in the same day. This prevents boredom. So when you have, say, 3 modules a semester, make sure that you revise 2 modules every day. So you have, say, math and English today, and you have, say, chemistry and math tomorrow, and you have English and chemistry the next day. So you mix it up so that you don't end up doing the same thing over and over again. The next point is to take regular intervals, preferably every 40 minutes or every hour for about 10 minutes. It's very important to get up and leave your space, do something different to what you were doing for that particular 1 hour, and then come back and engage in something fresh. So if you have your timetable planned out for an hour to do math, you do math for an hour, you finish that, you get up, you take a break, and you come back and you start a new subject. This will also keep you motivated and you will be far more productive as well. Next point would be to reward yourself when you complete a task. So as you set goals for a day, let's say you want to get 3 hours of studying done today, and at the end of the day, you realize that you have actually gotten that done. Good job. You have to reward yourself for it. Reward yourself with something pleasant. It could be a movie, it could be a time with some friends, it could be a cup of coffee. You should also make sure that you review your goals and progress on a regular basis. Keep a track of your goals. Are you achieving your goals? And how is the progress? Every person should have set goals for a specific period of time. It could be every week you want to finish something, every month you want to get something done, every year you want to get something done. You have to have set goals. And you need to work towards that goal, and you need to keep a track of your progress as well. So if you're not performing so well with the progress, then you might want to go back and review to see what changes you need to make. This way, you will be able to track your progress in a positive way. And as you see yourself growing and making good progress, that itself is going to be a motivator to get you to the next level. You should also find a mentor who is experienced in the habit you want to achieve. Someone who knows how to do something really well, or who is experienced in doing that, is going to be able to train you or guide you to achieve the same without failure. So getting some help from a mentor who knows how to get it done is going to be far more effective in trying to achieve it than sitting there and struggling and making mistakes over and over again, which is just going to demotivate you. Because failures tend to demotivate you, and when it happens frequently, it could become frustrating. And that frustration itself could lead you to stop doing what you're doing.
Most students also find it difficult to manage time. Many of them struggle to keep up with deadlines. So, what are some effective ways to manage time?
Starting your day early leads to a sense of relaxation, a sense of calmness, and a sense of peace, because you have ample time to get to the next thing or the first thing that you want to attend in the morning. This helps you feel more stress-free or more calm, and it also allows you to establish a proper plan for the day. So one of the most effective ways of managing time is to start your day early and get through the day-to-day activities on time. Whereas if you start your day late, whereas you wake up late, you're already behind schedule. So instead of being calm, you're rushed. Instead of feeling relaxed, you're stressed out. Instead of feeling like you're prepared for the day, you already feel angry and frustrated because you're already behind schedule and you're already in trouble. So starting your day early makes the biggest difference when it comes to feeling fresh and feeling prepared to face the day ahead of you. The next thing to do is to establish routines. There should be a routine as to what you do the first thing you wake up in the morning and what you do throughout the day. And as much as you keep it a routine, it makes it easier for you because it then becomes a habit. and it's automatic. So you don't really have to force yourself to do anything. Just as much as getting a cup of coffee in the first thing in the morning has become a routine for many of us, everything else should become as natural as that. So one by one, you get things done. Another thing would be to use a to-do list and stick with it throughout the day as much as possible. We usually recommend that you prepare your to-do list for the next day the night before. So by the time you finish up everything for that day and you go to bed, maybe before you head to bed or as you get to bed, you could start planning out what you want to do for the next day. So that way, you know what you're waking up to tomorrow. You know what you have on your schedule. You know what you need to do. You know how early you need to be there. So you're prepared for it. Whereas if you don't have a to-do list, you just wake up without a purpose, and then you try to figure out what you need to do. And by the time you figure out what you need to do, it's already too late. And then you're rushed, and there begins the stress. So to keep yourself calm and prepared, to keep yourself relaxed throughout the day, you have to have a to-do list and a plan as to what you want to achieve that day. And you work yourself through it. There might be one or two things that you will not attend or that you may not be able to accomplish, but that's okay. That can always move to the next day's to-do list. Another important thing for today's generation especially is to avoid distractions and time wasters. One of the biggest distractions today is the use of smartphones and being online on social media. Many of us get distracted with social media and scrolling through the pages. And students often find that to be a very big distraction because they are constantly checking messages, they're constantly checking for notifications that come up. So when you really want to achieve something throughout the day, you really need to set aside these distractions and make sure that you focus on the work that you really need to achieve or get done. Social media is good for entertainment. Social media is good if you want to do something with your pictures and your friends and things like that. But that shouldn't be a habit where you use it all the time, as this leads to a lot of distraction, not just when you're scrolling through, but also it has distractions towards how your mind works. The content you see, the content you read, the content you watch are constant distractions, as some might be funny, some might bother you, some might be triggering, some might be disturbing. So it makes it very difficult for the mind to kind of come back to that level of concentration and focus back on your textbook or your lessons. So avoiding these distractions usually helps keep the mind focused and allow you to be focused on the work that you need to get done, and of course increases productivity as a result of it. You should also be able to identify time wasters. There could be other things like emails or forwards or talking to friends or gossiping. It could be something like that, which might be time wasters as well. So identifying these distractions and time wasters and pushing them aside so that you could focus on your work is another way to manage time effectively. You should also reward yourself when you achieve a simple goal. We've talked about rewards earlier as well. So rewarding yourself as soon as you achieve a simple goal or a simple task itself could make the biggest difference. So make that a habit, that you reward yourself with something healthy every time you get through something. And avoid multitasking. We've already talked about multitasking earlier as well. Multitasking isn't generally that helpful to all students. So tackling one task at a time and dealing with one item at a time is often very easy to handle and also stress-free, plus more productive. So avoid multitasking and make sure that you have a list of things that you need to get done and you handle them one at a time. And of course, get a good night's sleep. At the end of the day, you need to rest so your brain can process what you've done throughout the day. So for you to learn, for you to grow, for your brain to develop, you have to rest.
Subscribe to our channel and watch more of our Ask a Psychologist interview sessions. You can also drop your questions in the comments and we will answer them in our next video.